Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Runaway Horses. I'm Margo Price. This episode is going to be dedicated to the life and music of one of the greatest songwriters ever to walk the face of this godforsaken earth, Mr. John Prine. Throughout the next hour, in addition to hearing John's songs, I've also included some memories from some of John's friends and some clips that I recorded of John telling stories on his back porch. It was the evening of June 25th, 2017. My husband, Jeremy, and I went over to John and Fiona's house for a party, and Fiona cooked up a big meal for everyone. Afterwards, everybody left except for Jeremy and I, and we had a flight at 6 a.m. the next morning. But we were just having too much fun, and it was too hard to leave when John's personally making you his signature drink of vodka and ginger ale. So we were up until about 2 or 3 a.m., and we definitely showed up to the airport the next morning a little bit drunk, but it was worth it. All right, I'm going to dive in. I hope everybody is hanging tough out there, and we'll start at the beginning of John's career. Here is Sam Stone from John's first self-titled 1971 album.
Sam Stone came home to his wife and family after serving in the conflict overseas. And the time that he served had shattered all his nerves and left a little shrapnel in his knee. But the morphine eased the pain, and the grass grew around his brain and gave him all the confidence he lacked. With a purple heart and a monkey on his back, there's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pitchers have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone's welcome home didn't last too long. He went to work when he'd spent his last dime, and Sammy took to stealing when he got that feeling for $100 habit without overtime. And the gold rolled through his veins like 1,000 railroad trains, and eased his mind in the hours that he chose, while the kids ran around wearing other people's clothes. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pitchers have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone was alone when he popped his last balloon, climbing walls while sitting in a chair. Well, he played his last request while the room smelled just like death, with an overdose hovering in the air. But life had lost its fun, and there was nothing to be done but trade his house GI Bill for a flag draped casket on a local hero's hill. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pitchers have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios.
Chris Christopherson once said John Prine's songs were so good that they were going to have to break his thumbs. And I tend to agree with that. Sam Stone is such a great example of how John could write with abstraction but still make it personal. And it's a political song, but it's just really a song about humanity, like all John songs. And it's timeless because he never says a specific war. He just says the conflict overseas. It could be, it could be Civil War, Vietnam. It could be folks still struggling right now. But John just had a great way of doing that. Next, we're going to listen to Souvenirs from 1972's Diamonds in the Rough. And this was the first time that John recorded this song. He went on to do it later with the album Souvenirs. This one contains his buddy Steve Goodman, and Diamonds was recorded in just 3 days with a budget of only $7,200, and John said that included beer. Okay, Souvenirs.
All the snow has turned to water. Christmas days have come and gone. Broken toys and faded colors are all that's left to linger on.
I hate graveyards and old pawn shops, for they always bring me tears. Can't forgive the way they robbed me of my childhood souvenirs. Memories that can't be bought, they can't be won at carnivals for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how they slipped away from me.
Broken hearts and dirty windows make life difficult to see. But that's why last night and this morning always look the same to me.
I hate reading old love letters, for they always bring me tears. I can't forgive the way they robbed me of my sweetheart's souvenirs. Memories that can't be bought,
can't be won at carnivals for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how it slipped away from me.
All right, that was Souvenirs from Diamonds in the Rough. And if you get a second, check out Betty Levette's version of Souvenirs. I was lucky enough to see her perform that at the Americana Fest John Prine tribute at the Troubadour in February of 2019. And yeah, she just brought the house down, and Dwight Yoakam performed, and I performed with Bob Weir. We did Great Rain and Angel from Montgomery. It was just a really awesome night. Let's see, and after that, I played Dear Abby from Sweet Revenge. If you were listening last week, I played the title track, Sweet Revenge, and that is one of my all-time favorite John Prine songs. It's the last song that I performed with John New Year's Eve at Grand Ole Opry. And a really cool fact about that song is that it features vocals from Cissy Houston, who was a member of the Elvis Presley group Sweet Inspirations, and it's got really cool background vocals on it. But I chose Dear Abby because I just think it's such a hilarious song, and each verse is really like a punchline, and I love the story at the beginning of it, and just hearing John talk is pretty comforting. But Sweet Revenge was recorded in Nashville, but that version of Dear Abby was recorded at New York State University, and he said that they did a studio version and it just did not work. So they went back and recorded that, which I thought was really cool. You gotta love the cover of Sweet Revenge. John's sitting there in a Canadian tuxedo with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and cowboy boots. And he's kind of laid out in his 1959 Porsche convertible, which apparently was the first thing he bought with his advance from the record company. But anybody that knew John knew that he had a real love of automobiles. And I remember hearing a funny story from Jonathan Levine, who is my booking agent and also John's booking agent. And so I asked him to tell this story for everyone here.
This is Jonathan Levine. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, 14 days after John's sad passing, period. I am not super well versed in these voice memos, so I'm going to do my best here. Please bear with me. Early one morning in January 2017, I was walking my dog in our neighborhood. I had recently been discharged from Vanderbilt University Medical Center for the first of what turned out to be 12 cancer-related operations on my face. It was my first walk of any distance since returning home from that first big surgery. As I was walking down the street, I could hear the sound of a truck coming behind me. It was loud, especially for that hour. I could tell by the sound it was driving very slow. I turned around to see a large 18-wheeler driving slowly up the street. I could see into the cab that the driver was looking to both sides, apparently trying to discern house numbers or an address. Eventually, the truck pulled past me and continued further down the road. Several minutes later, I'd caught back up with the truck as it had parked on the street with its flashers on. I noticed when the truck passed me it was a horseless carriage, which is an auto transport company typically used to move high-end cars to and from dealers and private collectors. By the time I caught back up with the truck, the driver had gotten out and had opened both rear doors to the trailer. I could see several cars inside. About the same time, to my right, I caught sight of a man walking slowly and deliberately from his house out towards the trailer. The man, wearing black sweats, a white t-shirt, a gray hoodie, had gray hair and was hunched slightly forward. While his head was at first turned away from me, the walk was strangely familiar. The man, walking from his house, arrived to the back of the truck where by now the driver was pulling out 2 giant ramps. It was clear he was making a delivery. All 3 of us, the driver, the man with the gray hair and hoodie, and me with my dog Juno, arrived at just about the exact same time to the rear end of the truck. I had a baseball hat pulled down low to protect my face as the scar and sutures from the surgery were still fresh. As the gray-haired man looked up, we both caught sight of each other. I said, "John?" He said, "Jonathan?" I said, "What are you doing?" And he got the most sheepish, boyish, hand-caught-in-the-cookie-jar look on his face and proceeded to tell me that he had just bought another Cadillac Eldorado on eBay from someone in New Jersey. That's what was in the truck. It was being delivered at that very moment. He then gave me that patented John Prine look with squinted eyes and a half-cocked smile and his head tilted to the side as he said, "Shh, don't tell Fiona. She has no idea I just bought another car." I promised him his secret was safe with me. I miss John Prine.
About 3 months ago, I was in Rome, Italy, not New York. I don't know what I was doing there. I was just there. And, I got this sandwich one day, and they gave me a newspaper with it. It was the only newspaper they had there that was in English, and they had all the news from all around the world just crammed into 4 pages. Didn't even have any funnies in there, you know. Every time you turn a page, something just jumped right out at you, you know. So I found an old friend in there, and I wrote her a song. It's for Dear Abby. Dear Abby, my feet are too long. My hair's falling out and my rights are all wrong. My friends, they all tell me that I've no friends at all. Won't you write me a letter? Won't you give me a call? Signed, Bewildered. Bewildered, bewildered, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, my fountain pen leaks. My wife hollers at me and my kids are all freaks. Every side I get up on is the wrong side of bed. If it weren't so expensive, I'd wish I were dead. Signed, unhappy. Unhappy, unhappy, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, you won't believe this, but my stomach makes noises whenever I kiss. My girlfriend tells me it's all in my head, but my stomach tells me to write you instead. Sign, noisemaker. Noisemaker, noisemaker, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, well I never thought that me and my girlfriend would ever get caught. We were sitting in the backseat just shooting the breeze, with her hair up in curlers and her pants to her knees. Sign, just married. Just married, just married. You have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Sign, dear Abby.
Know that you're sad, know that you're lonely. You lie awake till way past winter. Want you to know that I'm leaving you only, cause I may not get the chance again. Cold and I'm tired and I can't stop coughing long enough to tell you all the news. Like to tell you that I'll see you more often. Often is a word I say all I'm used. Often is a word I say all I'm used. Tell me where did the weekend go? Tell me where did the weekend go? Went like thunder, fell like snow. Went like thunder, fell like snow. You must think my life's a circus, watching me laughing and slapping my thighs. How'd you like to die in a house of mirrors with nobody around to close your eyes? Cold and I'm tired and I can't stop coughing long enough to tell you all of the news. Like to tell you that I'll see you more often. Often there's a word I say all I'm used. Often there's a word I say all I'm used. Tell me where did the weekend go? Tell me where did the weekend go? Went like thunder, fell like snow. Went like thunder, fell like snow. Going down to the Greyhound station, going back home and get what's mine. Got me a date with a 10 o'clock special, gonna be there at 8:45. Cold and I'm tired and I can't stop coughing long enough to tell you all of the news. Like to tell you that I'll see you more often. Often there's a word I say all I'm used. Often there's a word I say all I'm used. Often there's a word I say all I'm used.
All right, next up, I'm going to play a couple songs from 1975's Common Sense, which was recorded at Ardent Studios in Memphis. And the album was produced by Steve Cropper, who was the guitarist in the Stax Records house band. And he played with Booker T and the MGs, Carla Thomas, Sam and Dave. The list goes on and on. He was also producing a Rod Stewart album at the time that he was doing this John record. But this is maybe my favorite John Prine album, and I'm going to play first a song called Way Down.
Way down, it must be. I can't stop this misery, it must be way down. Spring is just a smile away, laughing at a summer day. I turn around to look at fall when I hear my lonely call. Way down, it must be. I can't stop this misery,
it must be way down. The air's thin and the sky's fat. I'm gonna buy me a brand new hat. I went out and go insane. Christ, I hope it'll never rain. Way down, it must be. I can't stop this misery. It must be way down. Thought I saw a neon sign flash my name with the time. I probably didn't see a thing. Crazy dreams and broken wings. Way down, it must be. I can't stop this misery. It must be way down. How you gonna get sunshine peeking through Venetian blinds? Don't you know all that fear begins and ends the same place here? Way down, it must be. I can't stop this misery. It must be way down. Spring is just a smile away, laughing at a summer day. Turn around, look at fall, when I hear my lonely call.
Repeating way down or whatever. I feel like everybody does that in their own stuff.
You just rewrite the same song if it works.
Well, I only got 3 chords.
Yeah.
How many times can you go around? But I think
Move the capo.
the song I repeated it on was a co-write, and I don't think that we wrote the song to that melody. But when I went to cut it with Dave, I just played a simplified version of it, and it turned out to be the melody Way Down.
Which one?
The Boundless Love.
Oh.
Listen to the beginning of it. And
yeah.
It's like.
But if you're ripping yourself off, like, who you're really stealing
Really?
from?
Yeah.
You know, you're just stealing from John Prine.
It's just-
Like,
it's
John
just keeping
Prine
the
can do
motif.
John
Sue me,
Prine all
John
Keep the
day.
Prine.
motif going.
Yeah. Did you sing on it?
No.
Oh.
So younger you is gonna call you up and sue your ass.
I would love to see him.
Punch him
I
out.
would love to see.
I tell him a couple of places he shouldn't have gone.
The last time that I saw her, she was standing in the rain with her overcoat under her arm, leaning on a horsehead cane. She said, Carl, take all the money. She called everybody Carl. My spirits broke, my mind's a joke, and getting up's real hard. Don't you know her? When you see her, she grew up in your backyard. Come back to us, Barbara Lewis, Hare Krishna, Beauregard. Selling Bibles at the airports, buying Quaaludes on the phone. And you talk about a paper route, she's a shut-in without a home. God save her, please, she's nailed her knees to some drugstore parking lot. Hey, Mr. Brown, turn the volume down, I believe this evening shout. Don't you know her? If you see her, she grew up in your backyard. Come back to us, Barbara Lewis, Hare Krishna, Beauregard. Can't you picture her next Thursday
Can you picture her at all? In the Hotel Boulderado, at the dark end of the hall, I gotta shake myself and wonder why she even bothers me. For if Horlicks were commercials, we'd all be on TV. Don't you know how, when you see how she grew up in your backyard? Come back to us, Barbara Lewis, Hare Krishna, Beauregard. Come back to us, Barbara Lewis, Hare Krishna, Beauregard.
That was Come Back to Us, Barbara Lewis, Hare Krishna, Beauregard, a song that John co-wrote with Ramblin' Jack Elliott during the summer of 1973 when they were doing a tour of Colorado ski towns. And John said that he had in mind a girl who left home, did drugs, did religion, did husbands, and ended up doing diddly. I got a little clip here of John talking about Ramblin' Jack.
Pat McLaughlin had Ramblin' Jack opens for us whenever we're around San Francisco or in the Northwest. And Pat had Jack sign his guitar. And every time I look over at Pat when he's speaking on the acoustic and see on that old mark, he's got Ramblin' Jack.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It makes me want to wonder, man, maybe I should get Jack. Jack's 84 now.
Yeah.
It makes me think about maybe I should have Jack sign my old mark.
In 1978, John put out an album called Bruised Orange, and I'm going to play my favorite song from that record, which is That's the Way the World Goes Round. This came out on Asylum Records. John always had a funny story that he told when he played this song. He said that there was a woman in his audience that started yelling, "Play the Happy Enchilada song." And he said, "I don't have any songs about enchiladas." And she was talking about this song because he says, it's a half an inch of water and you think you're going to drown. So every time I hear that, I think it's a happy enchilada and you think you're going to drown. All right, that's the way the world goes round.
Oh, I got glue on my string. That's the way that the world goes round. I know a guy that's got a lot to lose. He's a pretty nice fella, kinda confused, got muscles in his head, ain't never been used, thinks he owns half of this town. Starts drinking heavy, gets a big red nose, beats his old lady with a rubber hose, then he takes her out to dinner, buys her new clothes. That's the way that the world goes down. That's the way that the world goes round. You up one day, the next you're down. It's a half an inch wider and you think you're gonna drown. That's the way that the world goes round. I was sitting in the bathtub, counting my toes when the radiator broke. Water all froze, I got stuck in the ice without my clothes, naked as the eyes of a clown. I was crying ice cubes, hoping I'd croak when the sun come through the window. The ice all broke, I stood up and laughed, thought it was a joke. That's the way that the world goes round. That's the way that the world goes round. One day, the next you're down, it's a happy
Gotta love that John Prine wisdom. Next, I'm going to actually pass the mic over to my friend and the producer of my first two albums, Matt Ross Spang, who is from Memphis, and he has pretty good knowledge of these songs here that I'm going to play from Pink Cadillac.
My name is Matt Ross Spang, and I was lucky enough to be John's friend and the recording engineer on his last album, The Tree of Forgiveness. I had been a fan of John's for quite some time, and one of my favorite albums of his is called Pink Cadillac. It was recorded in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Sam Phillips Recording Service in about 1979. Now, that studio is actually where I record most of these days, so there's been a lot of stories and myths about that record through the years that you've heard. And when I worked with John on his album, I got to ask about some of those. And he had a great story about two songs, How Lucky Can One Man Get and Saigon. Now, at that time, John was a little bit of a wild man. They said he would wake up about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and have breakfast, and then they would record through the night. And that's kind of key to this story because the album was produced by Jerry and Knox Phillips. Now, they're the sons of Sam Phillips. Sam, of course, is the father of rock and roll. He discovered Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, Howlin' Wolf, Ike Turner, and he recorded all of them in about a 9-year span at Sun Studio here in Memphis, Tennessee. By the 60s, Sam had kind of retired from the music industry, and his sons had taken over the studio. Now, they're producing Pink Cadillac. They've got John in the studio. They're going all night. And Sam comes by one morning. He happens to drive by the studio early in the morning, and he sees all the lights on. And he gets kind of upset and mad. He thinks that his sons left all the stuff on at the studio and then left, late in the night. When he gets there and he finds out that they're still up. They haven't gone to bed yet. And the song they're cutting is called How Lucky Can One Man Get, which I think is my personal favorite off the album. So Sam comes in, and John explained Sam somewhat of as like a musical Moses. Jim Dickinson said his eyes were two whirlpools of madness, and when he walked in the room, the DNA of the room would change. And John pretty much seconded that. He said when Sam came in, everyone was just in awe of this man, and he would come up and say things. He talked like a Southern Baptist preacher, and he hears the song John's cutting it, and How Lucky is more indicative of John's other stuff. It's got kind of that Mississippi John Hurt finger-picking style, and it's a great story, and it's got great wordplay. So right when they finish tracking How Lucky, and everyone comes back in the control room, they said Sam kind of came over to John, and he said, "John, you got songs about walking this way, and you got songs about walking that way. But how about something with some sex?" And when John explained to me, he said that Sam just held out sex for about as long as he could. And John started laughing. He said, "Well, yeah," and he's nervous. And he said, "I got this song called Saigon. How about that?" And they had tried to cut this one several times over the course of making this album. And they always kind of struggled with it. It was a very different song for what John usually does. Sam heard it, immediately loved it. He came out to the studio and he said, "Now, boys, you know halftime, don't you?" And they all said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "I want you to play that half a half." And that's when John said, Sam got back in his face, kind of got in his face and said, "Now, John, put some sex into it." So they start cutting this song really slowed down. And it's just incredible. It's about the Vietnam War. And Sam, when he heard the lyrics, he got inspired. He said he wanted the guitar to sound like flying shards of hot metal, like if you were being shot out in a helicopter. And so he took the guitar player's electric guitar amp, he put it in the echo chamber, and he turned it all the way up till everything in it was pretty much blowing up. And then he went back to the control room and he turned the microphone preamp up all the way, hit the tape machine all the way, and just distorted everything he possibly could so it would sound like flying shards of hot metal. And that's the guitar you hear on that song, and it immediately stands out. It's one of those things that's so wrong until it's right. And that's the story of Saigon.
Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 oh, things are getting better back in Saigon. Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 oh, things are getting better back in Saigon. Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 oh, things are getting better back in Saigon. Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon. Honey, 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 oh, things are getting better back in Saigon.
All right, that was Saigon and How Lucky from Pink Cadillac. And I heard there were 500 hours of tape from those sessions. Curious to hear what was left on the cutting room floor. I also heard there was cocaine written into the budget. So if those walls could talk. Rolling Stone gave that album a terrible review. Some guy named Dave Marsh kind of ripped it apart. And actually at the end of the review, it says, you want to get depressed, listen to this. But, it seems like John didn't really pay attention to the bad reviews from the press. Or if he did, he just, didn't let it bother him. I remember going over to John's house and going into the bathroom, and he had one of his worst reviews just framed there right above the toilet. And it was the review where the guy said he was about as entertaining as a dog bite. And I don't know. I tried to learn from that and let things just roll off my back.
What about when people start clapping and then they get off? Does that drive you nuts?
I heard that tonight.
When people start clapping, they're always.
Never listen to it. I mean, they're white people. I mean, like Jesus Christ, they've been doing that. That's the reason I got a band.
Yeah.
I mean, I played for years alone, but they're so fucking loud and they're clapping off time.
Yeah.
And I'm driving me crazy. So I got a band and we just turn up.
Official
Yeah,
so I can't hear
It's
them.
definitely
Yeah.
the all-time clapping, they say, come on, guys. Like, it's right here,
I never,
Ireland's even worse.
Yeah, you
I never
never
say anything.
got off.
I
It's
You
totally
just kept
off.
playing and it never changed.
yeah, just let them keep going.
Yeah.
Or I'll change my rhythm
Yeah.
and change my timing and screw them up and think that maybe they'll catch on. Never.
Today I walk down the street I used to wander. Yeah, shook my hand and I made myself a bed. Well, there was all these things that I don't think I remember. Hey, how lucky can one man get? I brushed my shoes and I hung them from a rearview mirror. Bronze admiration in a blind spot of a grill. Well, there was all these things that I don't think I remember. Hey, how lucky can one man get? Today I walked down a street I used to wind. Yeah, scratched my head and lit my cigarette. There was all these things that I don't think I remember. Hey, how lucky can one man get? Today I walked down a street I used to wind it. Yeah, shook my hand and made myself a bed. Well, there's all these things that I don't think I remember. Hey, how lucky can one man get? Hey, how lucky can one man get? Hey, how lucky can one man get?
I gave him a pair of boots that actually I like to wear. They're really comfortable. And like I have to go visit him in a cave.
And he goes, man, I want those boots.
I know,
I
because
should have
those
gone
boots
out
and
and
that
bought a
black
shit pair
guitar
and gave it to him.
and those lyrics, like that's the best. Whoever did that guitar, you told me, but like
17 coats of black lacquer.
Yeah.
it's so
And
sexy
we put a
with the
coon
silver,
rod.
like
We put a
it's
coon
like
rod
opal
up
or
at the top.
pearl.
Oh, yeah.
A guy in Lexington, Kentucky, gave me a coon rod. And we put a coon rod at the top, broken heart on the body, and my name on the frets.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy that did it, I said, the only place I would ever put my name is somewhere between a broken heart and eternal heart. and so we put my name in big letters on the back.
Yeah.
I had a dream last night I had a dream. Everything was black and white, and it smelled like gasoline. We stood in the corner and I held you tight. I kissed your mouth till my head got light last night when I had a dream. I had a dream last night I had a dream. Birds are flying left and right, either live or moving straight. Everyone was looking for something to do. I even thought I had a chance with you last night when I had a dream. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I had a dream last night. Birds are flying left and right. Everyone was looking for something to do. I even thought I had a chance with you last night when I had a dream. I had a dream last night I had a dream. Everything was black and white, and it smelled like gasoline. You stood in the corner and I held you tight. I kissed your mouth till my head got light last night when I had last night when I had last night when I had a dream. I had a dream last night I had a dream. I had had a dream last night I had a dream. I had a dream last night I had a dream. Everything was black and white, and it smelled like gasoline. We stood in the corner and I held you tight. I kissed your mouth till my head got light last night when I had a dream. I had a dream last night. Birds were flying left and right. Everyone was looking for something to do. I even thought I had a chance with you last night when
All right, that was I Had a Dream from Storm Windows. And that album was produced by Barry Beckett. It was recorded down in Muscle Shoals at Muscle Shoals Sound, and it had more kind of country vibe to it, and kind of foreshadows really what John would later do in Nashville. Also, throughout the show, I have been peppering in some conversations that I had with John back in 2017 that Fiona and Jody have been kind enough to let me use. One night, John and Fiona had us over to the house, and Fiona cooked a huge meal for everybody. She made homemade spaghetti and meatballs, and we just all partied and stayed really late. And I found myself sitting out there across from John, and he was just telling all these stories, and I just hit record on my phone without anybody knowing. And it's been so nice to just kind of go back and listen to his voice and hear him talk and all the wisdom that he had. So those conversations are from a night that we had on their porch where John was making Handsome Johnny's, his vodka and ginger ale cocktails for us, and we sat out there until about 3 a.m. We had to catch a flight the next day at 6, and it was rough, but it was worth it because we got drunk with John Prine. Next up, I'm going to take you to 1984's release, Aimless Love. And John had a lot of great co-writes on this record. He wrote with Shel Silverstein, Donnie Fritz, Bobby Whitlock. The song I'm going to play is Me, Myself, and I, which John wrote with Spooner Oldham and Dan Penn.
Well, tonight I'll throw a party, and I know who I'll invite. There's a strange and lonely person with whom I spend this night. There'll be no sad memories to haunt me till I die. In that room there'll be a bottle and me, myself, and I. In that room there'll be a bottle and me, myself, and I. I've been introduced to many people I don't understand. I've been in the house of lonely. I shook 1,000 shaking hands. But tonight I'll be with someone who will look me in the eye. And in that room there'll be a bottle and me, myself, and I. In that room there'll be a bottle and me, myself, and I. At that party you'll see me when I was just a child, in a room full of happy, with a heart so meek and mild. And that child will meet a ghost that will haunt him oh so bad, from a family of confusion, pretending love ain't never had. So tonight I'll throw that party, and I know just what I'll do. Yeah, I'll meet myself at midnight and cry the whole night through. Yeah, I'll meet that ghost of sadness, and he'll look me in the eye. And in that room there'll be that bottle, and me, myself, and I. In that room there'll be a bottle, and me, myself, and I.
In Appalachian Greyhound Station, she sits there waiting in a family way. Goodbye, brother. Tell Mom I love her. Tell all the others I'll ride someday. From a teenage lover to an unwed mother, kept under cover like some bad dream. Unwed fathers, they can't be bothered. They're running like water from a mountain stream.
Cold and gray town, a nurse says lay down. This ain't no playground, this ain't home. Someone's children out having children in a gray stone building all alone.
From a teenage lover to an unwed mother, kept under cover like some bad dream. Unwed fathers, they can't be bothered. They're running like water from a mountain stream. Somewhere else bound, Smoky Mountain Greyhound. She bows her head down, humming lullabies.
Daddy never meant to hurt you ever. He just don't live here, but he got his eyes.
From a teenage lover to an unwed mother, kept under cover like some bad dream. Unwed fathers, they can't be bothered. They're running like water from a mountain stream. Well, they run like a water from a mountain stream.
All right, that was Me, Myself, and I from Aimless Love. After that, I also played John and I's version of Unwed Fathers, which originally appeared on Aimless Love. Also, Tammy Wynette cut a great version of that. But it was really special to get in there and record that song with John. We actually did it at his house in the living room. I was 9 months pregnant, and John had just had a stroke. And in the middle of the session, he got a nosebleed, and he got up, and I could tell he wasn't feeling great, but he was still cracking all sorts of jokes. And It was something I'll never forget. I'll never forget that day. Also, harmonica by my husband, Jeremy Ivey, and guitar from Kenneth Pattengill from the Milk Carton Kids on that track. And actually, you can still go out and buy that record from your local record store. When we originally put it out, all the money was going to the ACLU to help protect women's rights. And I thought that was a really wonderful thing that John and Fiona did. Okay, I'm going to leave you tonight with a song from John Prine's 1986 album, German Afternoons. And this is a song that John wrote and recorded for his 71 debut album, but he re-recorded it for German Afternoons, and it's about the coal mining industry and the devastation that it causes. And he wrote this song for his father, a song that he played at every show, usually towards the end of his set, and it's just a great sing-along song, even though it's sad. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I'll be back next week with part 2 of this John Prine special. Until then, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe. I'll see y'all down the highway.
When I was a child, the family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. And there's a backwards old town that's often remembered so many times that my memories are worn. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is a haunted away. Well, sometimes we travel right down the Green River to the abandoned old prison down by Avery Hill, where the air smelled like snakes when we'd shoot with our pistols, but empty pop bottles was all we would kill. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal trains are haunted away. Then the coal company came with the world's largest shovel, where they tortured the timber and they stripped all the land. And then they dug for the coal till the land was forsaken, and then they wrote it all down as the progress of man. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is a haunted away. When I die, let my ashes flow down the Green River, let my soul roll on up to the Rochester Dam. I'll be halfway to heaven with paradise waiting, just 5 miles away from wherever I am. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is a haunted away. Mr. Peabody's coal train is a haunted away. Mr. Peabody's coal train is a haunted away.